Hello, my name is Marcin and I'm a member of the ExplainMe team. In this video, I will present the dashboard developed in our project and show how it can be used to inspect patient-specific recordings, model outputs, explanations, and clinician feedback. The dashboard is designed as a decision support and monitoring interface. Its purpose is not to replace clinical judgment, but to organize information generated by the ExplainMe system in a way that is easier to inspect. The interface brings together recording information, alert scores, acoustic feature visualizations, explanations of model outputs, and tools for clinician review. The workflow starts in the sidebar. Here, the user selects the patient whose recording should be displayed. In this example, the patient 2001 is selected. The next option is the comparison mode. The dashboard currently supports two ways of selecting recordings. The first one is the consecutive mode, where the current recording is compared with the previous recording in the patient's timeline. The second one is the free pair mode, where the user can manually select any two available recordings for comparison. In this example, the dashboard shows the selected current recording together with the corresponding reference recording. The dates of both recordings are displayed below the slider, which helps the user understand which recordings are currently being compared. The sidebar also allows the user to select which acoustic features should be included in the radar plots. The features are divided into mean and variability-related features. This is important because clinicians may not always need to inspect all available features. By allowing feature selection, the dashboard reduces cognitive load and lets the user focus on the information that is most relevant for the current case. After the patient and recordings are selected, the main part of the dashboard presents the selected pair. This table summarizes the reference and current recordings. It includes the recording identifiers, recording dates, predicted states, and model scores. This view gives the clinician a compact overview of the comparison being analyzed. For example, the user can immediately see whether the reference and current recordings were assigned to the same predicted state or whether the model detected a change. These score values provide additional information about the strength of the model output. The first main tab is the comparison view. This tab presents the model score across the patient's recordings. The upper plot shows the alert score over time together with the decision threshold unique to the patient. The selected reference and current recordings are marked directly on the plot, making it easier to locate them in the patient's timeline. This visualization allows the user to inspect whether the selected current recording is close to the threshold or clearly above or below it. It also shows how the current recording relates to earlier recordings from the same patient. Instead of looking only at one isolated score, the clinician can see the model output in a longitudinal context. The lower plot presents the average absolute z-score over time. This summarizes the overall deviation of acoustic features from the patient-specific euthymic baseline. It provides a complementary view of the alert score by showing whether the acoustic profile becomes more or less unusual across recordings. Together, these plots help clinicians and the technical team observe temporal patterns, isolated deviations, or systematic changes that may not be visible from the selected recording alone. The Comparison tab also includes radar plots. These plots compare the reference and current recordings using selected acoustic features. The first radar plot summarizes mean feature z-scores, while the second summarizes variability feature z-scores. Each plot shows the profile of the reference recording and the current recording on the same axis. This makes it possible to identify which features differ most strongly between the two recordings and which features remain similar. The radar plots are useful because they provide a compact visual comparison of the selected pair. They help the user move from the general alert score to a more detailed view of the acoustic dimensions that may have contributed to the model output. The second tab presents the generated explanation. This section translates the model output into a more interpretable form. At the top, the clinical summary describes the relationship between the reference and current recordings. It indicates which state is associated with the reference recording, which state is predicted for the current recording, and whether the current call is above or below the detection threshold. It also provides a short overall interpretation of the change in acoustic markers. Below, the main acoustic evidence is presented. This part lists the most influential or most unusual acoustic features for the current model output. For each feature, the dashboard indicates the direction of the deviation, the contribution to the model score, and where available, how unusual this deviation is compared with comparable calls. The same information is also shown visually using a horizontal bar chart. This helps users quickly compare which features were most important for the model output. The final part of the explanation compares the reference and current recordings directly. It identifies the acoustic features with the largest profile changes and describes whether their deviations from the optimic baseline became stronger, weaker, or remained similar. It is important to emphasize that these explanations are intended to support clinical interpretation. They should not be treated as diagnostic statements or as evidence that a single acoustic feature directly indicates a specific mental state. The clinician remains responsible for interpreting the output in the broader clinical context. The final tab is the clinical review section. This part of the dashboard allows clinicians to interact with the system and document their assessment. The selected patient and recording pair remains visible at the top of the page, so the review is clearly associated with the specific comparison being inspected. The clinician can assign a flag to the selected case. For example, a flag could be used when the alert appears incorrect, the explanation seems unclear, or the output requires further verification. Below the flag field, the clinician can enter a free text note. This allows the clinician to document additional observations, concerns, or interpretations that are not captured by the model or by the acoustic features. After writing the review, the clinician can save it. The dashboard also provides an option to export a summary. This can support later discussion, model evaluation, or technical review. This feedback functionality is important because it creates a structured communication channel between clinicians and the development team. If clinicians identify unclear explanations, unexpected predictions, or clinically questionable outputs, this information can be used to improve further versions of the ExplainMe system. To summarize, the ExplainMe dashboard connects several components in a single interface: patient and recording selection, alert scores, visual comparison of acoustic features, generated explanations, and clinician feedback. The dashboard supports the interpretation of movement alerts by showing not only what the model predicted, but also which acoustic patterns contributed to the output and how the selected recordings differ from each other. Most importantly, the dashboard is designed as a decision support tool. It does not make the final clinical decision. Instead, it provides clinicians with additional information that can help them decide whether a model alert should be accepted, questioned, or investigated further. Thank you for your attention, and goodbye.